This is Colorado Matters from CPR News and KRCC. I'm Ryan Warner. A scary puzzle's coming together today. We've had the warm piece, the dry piece. Today we add wind. For our final weather and climate chat of the year with Denver 7's chief meteorologist, let's take stock as well of 2025, maybe look ahead as well. Hi, Lisa Hidalgo.
Hi. I cannot believe this year is almost over. What happened?
Where did it go? The Front Range foothills today could see winds of up to 85 miles an hour. That is a Category 1 hurricane. It's not a hurricane, but the equivalent of. There are expanded fire bans, and Excel might shut power off in areas at risk for wildfire. What goes through your mind at a time like this?
I mean, I think for any of us that were here in Denver back in 2021, the Marshall Fire, it's similar conditions when we see this kind of a pattern set up. We've been kind of stuck in this. It's kind of a La Niña. So what we're getting is from the Pacific Northwest, you get a lot of, good rain, good moisture coming in, and it really kind of gets trapped by our northern and central mountains. Down across the plains, we end up just getting the windy weather from it, very little moisture. The temperatures kick up, the winds kick up, and it's been so dry that it creates high fire danger, obviously, along the Front Range.
Oh, interesting. So it's been wet. These systems have been wet elsewhere, but by the time they get to us, it's bone dry.
It's kind of the flow where it's coming in from the northwest, and the mountains act like a wet towel, wringing out all that wet weather, so we don't get it down here. We get the downsloping winds, which leads to really warm mornings. I mean, temperatures that have been well above normal, and then, well above normal afternoons as well.
Usually highs are in the mid-40s this time of year on the Front Range, but we're as much as 20 degrees above that these days. 2025 going down as one of the warmest years in Colorado. It almost feels like the metro will never see snow or rain again.
4.3 inches. That's all we've seen so far this season, and it was with, two storms earlier in the month. The second one brought us most of that accumulation, but by the end of December, we would typically be at just over 20 inches of snow. So it's been way too dry. Temperature-wise, you talk about averages in the low mid-40s. Those are the temperatures that we've been seeing in the early morning hours. We've been in the 40s, close to our average high for the day in the early morning hours, which is wild. I mean, today is going to be now day 9 in this streak of 60-degree plus temps. I mean, that's a pretty long, warm streak for mid-December.
Whereas at 1/5 our usual snowfall, if I do my math quickly.
You are a mathematician. Look at that. I'm impressed.
Well, be impressed, but I'm no mathematician. Typically, you only forecast like 7 days out, but I think everyone wants to know if we might see a white Christmas. What's your take on this slightly longer range forecast?
The listeners cannot see my face right now, but it's a sad face. It right now is looking like this streak is going to continue. I mean, it'll cool off a little tomorrow with this front rolling through, but then we're back up into the 60s, and it looks like this trend's going to continue into next week. Now, my question to you is this. What do you consider a white Christmas? Is it snow actually falling that day or an inch of snow on the ground?
I plead the fifth as a Jew.
Okay. Well, I consider it actually snow falling, and the percentage of that is only 14%. Now, if you counted a white Christmas as having at least an inch of snow on the ground, it's about a 37% chance. So really, I think people imagine that Colorado is this snowy, gorgeous Christmas scene when really we don't often see snowfall on the actual day, at least here in town. The mountains will be a different story.
When you talk about those percentages, that is to say, based on history, that's the likelihood we'd have a white Christmas no matter your definition.
Exactly. That would be the likelihood. When you look back, since like the early 1900s, even late 1800s.
More often than not, we have a dry Christmas.
We do. I mean, the mountains typically, if you, again, consider snow on the ground, they'll always see a white Christmas, but our probabilities down here are really not that high. I mean, you look back historically at some of the biggest years, the snowiest years, 2007, 7.8 inches of snowfall, which would be lovely. I would love that. I mean, we need something. These numbers are just way too low.
I want to talk about the high country and the snowpack in particular. So that's the natural water storage we depend on into spring and summer. It's at about 62% of what we'd expect. That's a little higher than I would have imagined, but put that number into some context.
It's better than it was. I mean, within the last 3-4 weeks, we've seen a much better pattern for the mountains, which has boosted that. But I mean, really, as we get into mid and late winter, we're typically between about 90 and 100% of normal when it comes to our snowfall. So that is a pretty low number. Now, we've talked about this in the past, that we've got plenty of time to make up those numbers as we get into, more mid, late January and some of those spring snows.
What is the drought picture across the state, given all we've talked about thus far?
Eastern Plains at this point drought free. I mean, we had some pretty good rainfall and some, late snows, but the mountains, we're seeing a pocket now right in through the central mountains where it's drying out, more extreme drought there right now. So we do need to make up some of that. And again, some of that watershed will help out the Eastern Plains once we get some melting in the spring as well.
Indeed, this will prove to be one of the warmest years in Colorado in the past century. 4th warmest fall ever recorded. 8th warmest year in 131 years of record keeping. So, Lisa, we talk about this interplay between weather and climate. How does the trend, if you're seeing a trend, fit into the climactic picture?
I think what's scary is that you look at some of the warmest years we've ever had on record, and they're within the last decade or two. So the pattern, and it seems that's not changing much. We may get a year or two here and there, which is not going to be on the top warmest. But when you look at that being the trend over the last 2 decades, that's a little scary.
Okay. I have brought a drum roll
Ooh.
on my phone.
Okay.
I feel like we need it here because I'm going to ask what your standout weather moment from 2025 is.
Oh.
It's real high tech over here. Real high tech. Okay. Do you have a standout weather moment? It's as you've said, the year has flown by. It's tough to even remember what happened last week, let alone February.
I think the extremes are what stand out for me. I mean, severe weather season got started pretty early, and we had some early in the season tornadoes that were close to the metro area. That's a big standout, and I think that's scary for a lot of people, because if you're from here, yes, we get tornadoes, but everyone assumes they're out on the Eastern Plains. We have seen over the past few years that happening a little bit closer to the metro area, so I think that was one of the standouts. But it's been kind of a year of extremes.
I think of the extreme rain, for instance, in the southwest portion of the state.
Right. I mean, we had obviously the flooding rain there, and our state is so intriguing and interesting when it comes to weather because it can be so different and really not that far away. You look at the state and we can basically split it in twos, the Eastern Plains and the mountains, but you can also split it in quarters, where you've got the western slope, you then have the central mountains, you've got the front range, and then the Eastern Plains. And so with that many different kind of microclimates, our extremes can be pretty crazy.
We started with math, ended with some geometry.
I love that. We're just giving a little school lesson here all around.
Happy New Year. I'll see you in January.
Okay, sounds great. Bye.